Hello and welcome back to some more PSGL highlights. Today we are at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. And now in the background I've put a quali lap I did in practice, which I was quite happy with. I don't really do this because I normally never ever do a competent lap, and I know this is probably not amazing compared to what some people can do, but I thought I'd put it in. It makes a change of me doing a decent lap, but yeah, anyway, it's Monza. An interesting track, a lot of corner cutting you have to do, as you can see on the lap in the background. I wasn't too sure how I was going to fare. I know they did it in PSGL last season, but I wasn't in it then. And it's never really gone too well in previous seasons. Actually, on the last game I was quite decent here, but yeah, every race I do I seem to crash or get murdered. So let's hope in this race it doesn't go the same way, although some of you probably already know. But yeah, as I said, you just have to corner cut basically to get the right lines, and because of this so little corners, it's very hard to make time up. So the lap times are quite close, and one mistake can cost you everything. But yeah, you come to the end of this practice lap in the background, about a 10th up coming through the parabolic. I think it's going to be a mid.3, which I was very, very happy with. But yeah, as practice times don't mean anything, so it's pretty pointless. And as we skip into the actual session now, you're probably thinking, what the hell are you doing on dry tyres in the rain? But believe it or not, this is how the entire session goes, and yes, it is quicker to be on the dries. So yeah, explain that on Codemasters, but yeah, it's raining and it's just absolute chaos. This is my first lap now. I have no idea where to brake or anything. I've never done this before, and we invalidate instantly at turn 1. So that's not ideal, but yeah, this is probably the weirdest qualifying session I've ever taken part in. I've done dry running sort of on wet running, sorry, on dry tyres in a race before, but never in qualifying. So it was very strange. There was absolutely no grip traction wise. The cornering and braking wasn't too bad, but yeah, it was very strange. We come to the end, sorry, of our second run, and we actually go provisionally pole, which was quite encouraging. But yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone will just get quicker and quicker as the everyone gets used to the conditions. I mean, you can see the times, they're 23.9, as we did that low 17 in practice, so the time's still miles off. Come on to our third run now. We're about a 10th up there, but we're going to run slightly wide there on the exit of Scari, and that ruins our second run. So annoyingly, it's going to come down to one final run. As you can see the position, as we were in provisional pole before, we're now down in P12, so this lap we're going to have to absolutely send it. Now I was in a party with Sparks and Demon, and we were saying that I was losing quite a lot of time in sector 1. I didn't really know why, so I absolutely sent it basically on this final lap into turn 1. You see on the exit here we gained so much time, and we're like 2.5 tenths up now, so that was pretty much perfect from what I could do. So straight away it's looking quite good. I think I need about 4 tenths or so for pole. So you know, we've read that in the first sector already, that's very good. Make a little bit more out of the second chicane, that's very easy to corner cut. So we are pretty much 4 tenths up, but we mess the first Lesmo up slightly. And the second one I don't think is going to be amazing either, so we've sort of lost quite a lot of that advantage we did find. So we're only 3.5 tenths up now. But as I said, 3.5 tenths should still get us, you know, top 5 position. So it's looking fairly decent. We're actually a purple in the middle sector despite the mistakes. Coming through Ascari, very difficult, very easy to spin in these conditions, and corner cut, of course. We gain a little bit of time, just under 4 tenths up now coming through the Parabolica. So this is decent enough. So we have to send it into the Parabolica and just try not to spin. We're a little bit deep, and to be honest, I was so cautious on the throttle here. Just didn't want to throw it away. We lost about a tenth of a second, and you'll see in the qualifying results in the end that completely ruined our position. We crossed the line in P5, but at the end of the session you'll see it drops us down to I think P8, and I think without that really slow exit from the Parabolica we would have actually been P5 probably. So it was a little bit costly, but the grid is very messed up due to the weather, and I can assure you it's pretty chaotic in the race. But in front of us, we're coming to the end of the formation lap. Blizzard disconnected, so his car in front is an AI, which is quite an important factor when it comes to the start of this race. But yeah, the strategy is to go onto the mediums a lap 8 and take them to the end. It's fairly simple one stop, but We're going to count down now to the 3, 4, 5 red lights for the start of the Italian Grand Prix. They go out now, and we have a fairly decent start. We've got Blizzard's AI, we'll just completely go through. We've got Tharman on the outside. We should get this position up the inside because it's a fairly nice gap. We're going to break into turn 1 now. It's very chaotic and still. There's a lot of crashes all the time, and we get spun around. And that and Sparks in front also gets damaged, so it's now a Haas 1920, and that was a pretty much perfect start. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what happened. Basically, Blizzard, when he took over his AI just before he got into the braking zone at turn 1, the car decided to completely turn right, which turned him into the other racing point of Aero, and that basically just swiped me out into turn 1. So very unfortunate with the stupid AI in this game, but yeah, we're now in last. We're going to get past the teammate here because he's got quite a lot of wing damage from turn 1, and I think Gil and probably Casper ahead also do. So we're trying to fish our way through the field as best we can. While we've got the softs on, the softs should be quicker than the mediums at this stage. So we've just got to see if we can make any moves and somehow get ourselves back near the points. But yeah, Casper damage as well, so we're going to get past him back up into P17.
I didn't get damaged luckily, but
so it's going to turn into a recovery drive. Then we've got Ash Best a second ahead. Hopefully we can make short work of the, I don't want to say back marks of the league, but the people at the back of the grid, especially because of mediums, obviously they'll be a lot slower. So yeah, very frustrating, but I knew that because it's Monza, it's usually quite chaotic and a lot of stuff normally happens crash-wise. And to be honest, I was kind of hoping for a safety car the whole race, but yeah. Anyway, we've gained quite a lot on Ash Best already. We're in half a second now, and then in lap 2 we are pretty much on the back. So we're going to set it up down this back straight. Hopefully he doesn't fight it too hard because we are on the fastest tyres, but we're going to put it into overtake. And yeah, I think he had the exact same idea. I don't think he wanted us to get past, because as you can see, we're hardly gaining anything at all, which is very much not ideal. We're going to try and go down the inside on the brakes, but we're a little bit too far back, and that was just a bit of a clumsy, half-hearted move there. So I'm going to stick behind Ash Best. We get a decent exit, but again, he seems pretty insistent on keeping us behind. So it's slightly annoying because I wouldn't have minded making a bit of progress in this first stint. But skipping on to lap 4 now. There's been a bit of an incident. Have got recon off in the gravel, so that's going to be a position made up for us. Back up into P16 now, still behind Ash Best, who we really kind of do need to get past now. But yeah, coming into the middle chicane, the tyres, they do last quite well. The undercut doesn't really, it's not massive compared to other tracks. So if you pit lap 8, you can actually say if someone pits lap 7, you pit lap 8. I don't think they'll get a massive undercut on you. But anyway, the mediums, obviously, every lap you do are going to come into their own. But on to lap 8 now, we skip all the way to lap 8. Ash Best does eventually lose the DRS, and we do send one up the inside and get past. But yeah, we're going to come into the pits at the end of this lap anyway, so it's sort of ruined our soft stint. Being stuck behind these medium runners and everyone else on the softs at the front are absolutely miles ahead now. So it's definitely not ideal. Got quite a lot of DRS because obviously we've been sat behind Ash for a long time, but we've got to hope that there's a bit of chaos, and I think that's the only way we're going to get back into this race, unfortunately. And due to the nature of this game and obviously how far back I was, everyone on the alt strat that started on the mediums is obviously going to come out around me when I'm on the mediums. So more than likely going to lose positions to all of them, and it's very, 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 very unlikely that I'll get any points from this position. Unless there's a safety car, in which case you can hope on penalties and making positions up if everyone's on the soft tyres. But yeah, for now we're going to come out in P9. You can see how far behind the people we should be fighting we are. So we're about 10 seconds behind Thyman and Jordan. As Thyman was the person that was going side by side into turn 1, so that's really where we should be. So we lost about 10 seconds in total, but we skip all the way to lap 18 now, and it's pretty much exactly what I said. The alt strat runners caught up. We ain't going to fight them because they're just so much quicker than us. There's nothing we can do about it. We'll let Ferrari through. And we're just going to try and see if we can stick onto the back of them. There's a lot of straights and a lot of DRS zones, so you'd like to think it could stick within a second, but as you'll see coming through the middle sector now, yeah, the soft tyres are just far too superior at this point, and they just absolutely fly away. I think Juice had a little bit of a look at us through turn whatever that is, the middle chicane. But obviously that was nothing. There was nothing going for him there. I think we're going to get DRS down here. We're about 6.5 tenths now, 7 tenths now. But yeah, he's absolutely shot off, as you can see, and it's going to be pretty quickly. He's going to quickly get out of the DRS, and indeed he does. We've got Juice right behind us now. Yeah, again, we're not going to fight it because it's just pointless. We're not going to get any points anyway, so we're just going to let him through and hope that they catch the medium runners and they can get into a bit of chaos. I've got Dario about 3 tenths behind, but I don't think he'll make it as into turn 1. But no, he does. Absolutely sends it on us. We're just going to let him pass because, again, there's just no point in fighting it. We're going to try and stick onto the back of Dario and see if we can get towed along. But, again, I can pretty much tell you that does not happen. They just absolutely fly away. And we're, again, looking behind us. So we've got Recon 3.5 seconds behind us. So he is more than likely going to catch us before the end of this race. But, yeah, again, it's looking very dire. But I was still sort of hoping for a safety car and just some crashes up ahead to maybe scrape some points, but that 23 then, and Recon and Nash Best now on the back of us. So Recon is very close to us. I think he's going to go through around down this straight. He's going to put into overtake. Indeed he does. So he's going to go through. Just going to let him through, not too fussed. Coming into the braking zone of turn 4, and he decides he wants the racing line, and we get completely shoved off the track, which is not ideal. And that's going to allow Ash Best through around the outside into the first Lesmo, and he goes through. So yeah, I don't know what was going on there. It was a bit clumsy from Recon, but at the same time I guess he was ahead and he wanted the racing line, so we'll let him get on with it. But yeah, one more important thing to note is we've got minus 0.3 laps of fuel. Use quite a lot of fuel around here, and we definitely need to save that if we're going to get to the end of this race. But yeah, at this point my mindset really was I was completely out of the points, and considering Ash Best held me up so much the first stint, I just really wanted to overtake him just for a bit of fun really. So that's the aim now. I just want to beat Ash Best despite him being on the soft tyres. We're just going to blast our overtake down here and try and get back past him just to ruin his race like he held ours up in the first stint. So it's all a bit of fun. We're not fighting for any points, so we're going to go to the outside now using all of the overtake mode. We're going to go side by side into turn 1 now. Who's going to be late on the brakes? Ash is fairly late, but we're going to hang it around the outside, which gives us the inside in turn 2. We get sort of stuck together a bit there, but we are slightly ahead. We're going to bin the rest of our overtake down through the Curva Grande, and we do get ahead of Ash. So that's
he's made the move stick.
Good little battle there, and we do stick actually onto Recon for the DRS. That's going to help us. We've got Suso on the left hand side now, so we're up P14. But yeah, just a bit of fun with Ash there, getting past. We'll talk about after the race, and wasn't really battling for any points, was we? So it's all a bit of fun. We're on to lap 26 now. We've got Matthias, who's retired up ahead. I think he's been a bit of an incident with Domi, I do believe. And I don't know what else happened, but we're into P13 at this point. So we've got Matthias on the right hand side. He's completely DNF'd out of this race. And we've come through the first Lesmo. We've got Domi now on the outside, which puts us up into P11. Now, P11 you might think, obviously not in any points still, but if you look ahead to P9 on the left hand side, they have 8 seconds worth of penalties, and we're only 3.8 behind. So technically, we are actually in a points paying position now at this point. And as funny as the battle with Ash may seem, that actually has put us into the points, which is quite interesting. So that overtake we just did for fun has actually put us into the points. So it does show actually that every position does count. And we are on the back of Recon still, so we are still getting the DRS. So we've just got to hold on now for this last lap. Ash is actually not very close. I don't know if his tyres are completely died, but we have minus 0.15 laps of fuel left still. So we've got a lot to save on this last lap. But we've got Ash and Gil fighting into turn 1, which should give us a bit of breathing space to keep this P11, well, net P10 at this point. So again, Ash and Gil is about half a second behind us, so it gives us some chance to save a little bit of the fuel mix that we have literally none of, and the ERS, which you also have completely nothing of as well. I think we have 2 warnings at this stage, so if we get another penalty, if we get a penalty, then that's pretty much it. But yeah, Ash and Gil went side by side for that chicane, and now Blizzard's popped up into P13, so he's fighting his way through after a pretty tragic race as well. It's fair to say it's been a pretty tragic for all CRG drivers in this race. It's just not gone well for us at all, but make do with what we've got. We are still technically just about hanging on to P10 here. Blizzard does get past Ash actually, so he's going to take P12. But we do, yeah, I think we are going to somehow get 1 point out of this race from the absolute mess it's been. It pretty much ruined at turn 1 really, but yeah. Was hoping for a safety car the entire race. That's not happened. Sparks has been at the back the entire race after getting damage. All we really wanted was safety car, but we do come across the line into P10, so we get 1 point, which I guess is something to take out of this race. Yeah, I can't really say it was very exciting, besides the fun little battles we had at the end there, but yeah, it's a very interesting result actually. Christmas wins from Vasta, from Waters, Jordan. In terms of the championship, I think Waters gained the most. Obviously the championship leader Sparks has got no points, and for the Haas team we've got 1 point, so it's not been ideal, but I think we are still leading because of the gap we had. But yeah, that's it for this one. Hopefully the next one is a little bit better. We can get back fighting at the front and get some more points. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching these highlights. Well, sort of highlights, more like low lights. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
I'll see how many of those actual warnings